Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. I thought I would mix in one of my beloved lumberjack cryptids here while I'm taking your new suggestions, mainly because I realized it's been a while. It's been a couple of months since I last touched this particular sub-playlist, and so these are always fun, always very unique and mysterious creatures to talk about here. This one is absolutely no exception at all. It's going to be a rather short video because there just isn't much information to showcase about it, but what little there is, it definitely makes it stand out. And there's a specific location too, if you wanted to potentially see it, but most likely it's for this reason. Instead, you get to see a landmark associated with it. In fact, you're looking at a picture of it now. Definitely stands out. This is why I wanted to talk about it here, and it's known as the Axehandle Hound. More on that specifically as to why it's called that. So let's go ahead and let's talk about this very unique lumberjack cryptid, and then let me know in the comments below if you want me to feature some more sometime soon, because I definitely love doing these. So what is this Axehandle Hound? Well, again, it's a lumberjack cryptid that's been around for quite some time, at least during the frontier days, whenever people were moving westward, and then in certain states, specifically in Wisconsin and Minnesota, there were a lot of lumberjacks there. So how about that? Lumberjack cryptid encountering lumberjacks, and that's where they found this creature. By the way, it also goes by several other type of names. It can be known as the Axehandle Hound, so in other words, spelled differently. And then in other cases, it's called the hyphen handle hound. It just depends, I guess, on how it's being written. But either way, again, it's considered a fearsome critter found there in Wisconsin and Minnesota. Let's talk about the physical characteristics. Right off the bat, obviously, the big thing, the elephant in the room, is the shape of its head. That's why it's called the Axehandle Hound, is because the shape of the head itself is an axe head, like it looks like one. In other words, all you take is just a average dog, maybe one of those that looks more like a wiener dog, and then essentially stretch its head out to make it into the form of an axe, and that's essentially what it is. It doesn't use its head, mysteriously enough, as a weapon. So in other words, it doesn't use it to cut things down or to attack other enemies and so on. In fact, it's been cited as being very peaceful. This is a creature that apparently just doesn't do any harm whatsoever, but for whatever reason, the shape of its head happens to be that axe. But what makes it even more mysterious is this. It has those stubby legs, it has that long body, but what it feeds for its body is this. It consumes the handles of axes, specifically those that are left behind by lumberjacks. Those same lumberjacks I was mentioning earlier that were going out into the west frontier. So how about that? This is a creature that only consumes one thing: handles of axes. Strange coincidence, right? It has the head of an axe, and then now it's eating handles associated with axes. And so this is a creature that obviously had that name, Axehandle Hound, not just because of the shape of its head, but also because of what it consumes. But it is definitely a nocturnal creature. That's why hardly anybody was ever able to see it. One can imagine that the lumberjacks at their time, after a long day of cutting down trees, they were in turn just resting blissfully at night. And then there was this creature just moving about, moving towards certain areas, going through their camps. And then that's when it encounters the unattended axes, and then it takes those handles. I don't know if it snaps them off or if it takes the axe altogether, but then it takes them and then it starts going elsewhere and then consumes them as well. It basically moves from camp to camp every single night, finding its next meal, and then who knows, maybe some people were lucky enough to be able to see it. Now, as far as the actual location, where who knows, maybe you might have a chance you'll see it there as well, but you can actually go there and find a landmark associated with it. You have to go to an area called it's over by Little Fork River. There's an area called Voyagers National Park. There's a town nearby called Linden Grove. And then there is a canoe access campground that's named the Axehandle Hound. So one can think that it's specifically named for this lumberjack cryptid because that's probably where it was sighted. At least who knows how far back. So if you wanted to have a chance to see it somehow, some way, go to that area. Again, go to a nearby town called Linden Grove, and then go to a park that's called Voyagers National Park. And then there at a place called Little Fork River, there's a campground called Axehandle Hound. And then that's where you'll see at least that particular namesake for it. And then the only other thing to mention is it has been cited within a book. It's by a book by the name from Jorge Luis Borges, and it's called The Book of Imaginary Beings. And there's a subchapter called The Fauna of the United States, and that's where it is chronicled. That's where stories are associated with it. In fact, even here right now, you're looking at an entry associated with it as well, including some of the long stories and then some of the descriptions, like in other words, the drawing that's linked to this creature. But otherwise, that's pretty much it. There's not much other information really to talk about it here. But if someone has anything else on a local level, those of you from Wisconsin, maybe from Minnesota, or maybe those of you that are lucky enough to have actually gone to that specific river, that Little Fork River, and then come across this campground, let me know. Let me know if you see anything there associated with the Axehandle Hound. Maybe they have a little mascot or something else as well. Love to see those in the comments. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.